As we mentioned earlier, having youth participate actively and thus be engaged in the processes that are meant to affect their lives, regardless of the specifics, is crucial. Therefore, we need to talk about engagement. Too many of us, as teachers, trainers, or youth workers, rely on merely using worksheets or other non-interactive teaching tools or mediums to teach or present difficult concepts. And in the rush and pressure of classroom or youth group time, we unconsciously take our youth members' attempt to solve those worksheets or uninteractive mediums as engagement. The reality of that situation, however, is that those youth members are not engaged, at least not in the way that is required for the information we present to them to be learned and retained. Retention requires intentional engagement and interest investment from the learners, which worksheets are not known to inspire. Unlike the reaction and feeling generated by worksheets and other such non-interactive teaching mediums, true engagement is captivating, memorable, and inspires and motivates efforts towards a learning goal. To help you grasp this differentiation, let me ask you this. Think back to a moment that was truly special to you. It could be your university graduation, the birth of your child, the surprise of getting a puppy, or even the first time you traveled outside your hometown. That moment does not need to be something extravagant or expensive, as long as it's a moment that is special to you. If it is special to you, it is definitely memorable. It's so memorable that if you try, you will be able to remember details of that moment, like sounds, sights, colors, and smells. If nothing else, you will be able to remember feelings. Why? Because in that moment, whatever took place engaged you in a way that triggered emotions, that amplified sensations, that allowed for you to become aware of what was happening around you. That you became better able to grasp the meaning of what was happening, but also retain the memories associated with it. That is how the learning experience should be or feel like for learners to be truly engaged, especially when harder concepts or skills are being introduced. Conversely, the feelings and reactions produced by filling in, let's say, your tax declaration forms, which can be the learning environment's equivalent of worksheets, don't really make you wish you could repeat that experience every day, do they? The memories associated with that experience aren't particularly pleasant, and they do not have that rewarding sensation that will motivate you to repeat that action enough times in order for you to retain the information and details of that tax declaration form. In learning, we need our learners to not only pay attention to what we're presenting them, but we want them to, 1, be intentionally engaged, and 2, we want them to retain that information and those details. The only way for that to happen is for them to be motivated to revise and practice. The truth is that they need to want to learn. Making them want to learn is a part of our responsibilities. Going back to worksheets for a second, that is not to say that worksheets or other non-interactive mediums are not useful. Moreover, that is definitely not to say that the purpose for which we use them is not valid or important. But if they are already ineffective in bringing about the desired outcome, which is making learners want to learn, then shouldn't we reconsider their use, or at least their extensive use, their timing and method of integration and presentation? The information on these mediums is not in question, but merely the monotonous way the information is being presented, transmitted, and delivered. We need to take a moment to reflect on how we handle the delivery of content and question if our current delivery methods are engaging enough in order for learners to be able to retain memories and information, just like we do when we experience captivating life moments. It's all about engagement. Engagement requires innovation, and innovation requires creativity. STEM-inspired hands-on interactive activities can help us with exactly that. they are also more likely to engage learners with different learning styles. An example of this would be the combination of visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and reading and writing mediums. In this module, we will look into the general logic and reasoning for using STEM-inspired hands-on interactive activities to motivate youth engagement and participation in sessions designed to help develop skills, mindsets, and knowledge necessary for their successful involvement in the entrepreneurial and work arena. You, of course, can learn more about it by using the momentum gained in this course to do your own research and learn more, as this module is just an introduction. For you to be able to use the strategy presented in STREAMpreneur in a way that is truly engaging, you will first have to rediscover and exercise your creative muscles. Yes, rediscover. You heard correctly, meaning to say that you already possess creativity within you. Every human being does, and it is not an attribute only possessed by artists, poets, designers, or entertainers, according to many creativity experts, including world-renowned author Julia Cameron, who has written the bestseller The Artist's Way: A Spiritual Path to Higher Creativity. One way to go about this rediscovering process is trying something new in order to form new connections and pathways in our brains. However, rediscovering and exercising our creativity by trying something new that is outside of our comfort zone can be uncomfortable. For this module, this something new that we are asking you to try is experimenting with hands-on STREAM activities such as the ones presented in the course. In fact, I strongly encourage you to play around with all the activities that are shown in this module. The materials necessary for the activities are easy and affordable to source. I'm hereby inviting you to not just hear about STREAMpreneurship, but really try it. And whatever stage you're at with it, step outside of your comfort zone to challenge how you use and apply STREAM-inspired hands-on activities. We are asking you to do that, as that is the only way one can become creative with it and thus engaging with it. If you accept this invitation and challenge, you might find yourself being excited at times and at others scared, or feeling both at the same time. Oftentimes, starting is the most difficult stage of any new activity, skill set, or mindset. Most of the time, that is because of fear. Fear that we will not be able to see it through, fail, be criticized, misunderstood, or that trying something new will end up being a total waste of time. Sometimes we take that fear as proof that we need to stop, or rather not even start something new that requires effort, because we have this crazy misconception deep within us that creativity and staring uncertainty straight in the eyes is only for the fearless, something we feel we are not. But that is simply not true. Yes, we need to be brave, but we needn't be fearless. Brave and fearless do not mean the same thing. As Elizabeth Gilbert in her book Big Magic, one of my favorites by the way, explains, bravery means doing something scary. Fearlessness means not even understanding what the word scary is, which is a stage reserved for people with certain neurological mental conditions and sociopaths. Our sense of fear is vital for our basic survival, so getting rid of our fear is not the issue here. I doubt most of us can get rid of fear when being creative, innovative, trying out new things, or generally bringing some sort of disruption to our predictable and controllable comfort zone. Our fear will always show up when we are being creative, because creativity requires us to embark on a mission whose outcome is uncertain. And fear hates uncertain outcomes because it relinquishes control. So the challenge here is not to get rid of fear, as we cannot, but deal with it by allowing it to coexist with creativity. As Elizabeth Gilbert says in her book, this one right here, so I don't try to kill off my fear. It seems to me that the less I fight my fear, the less it fights back. If I can relax, fear relaxes too. In fact, I cordially invite fear to come along with me everywhere I go. I even have a welcoming speech prepared for fear, which I deliver right before embarking upon any new project or big adventure. It goes something like this. Dearest fear, creativity and I are about to go on a road trip together. I understand you will be joining us, because you always do. I acknowledge that you believe you have an important job to do in my life and that you take your job seriously. Apparently your job is to induce complete panic whenever I'm about to do something interesting. And may I say, you are superb at your job. So by all means, keep doing your job if you feel you must. But I will also be doing my job on this road trip, which is to work hard and stay focused. And creativity will be doing its job, which is to remain stimulating and inspiring. There's plenty of room in this vehicle for all of us, so make yourself at home, but understand this. Creativity and I are the only ones who will be making any decisions along the way. I recognize and respect that you are part of this family, and so I will never exclude you from our activities, but still, your suggestions will never be followed. You're allowed to have a seat, and you're allowed to have a voice, but you're not allowed to have a vote. You're not allowed to touch the roadmaps, you're not allowed to suggest detours. You are not allowed to fiddle with the temperature. Dude, you are not even allowed to touch the radio. But above all else, my dear old familiar friend, you're absolutely forbidden to drive. Then we head off together, me and creativity and fear, side by side, forever advancing once more into the terrifying but marvelous terrain of unknown outcome.